Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's a recording of a class given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in 1973. Canto 1, Chapter 15, Text 45. We request that you bring up the volume of your listening devices. Sometimes the recording level here is low. Without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarve Tam Anunirjagmur bhrātaraḥ kṛta-niścayāḥ kalinādharma-mitreṇa dṛṣṭvā spṛṣṭāḥ prajā bhuvi sarve anunirjagmur bhrātaraḥ kṛta-niścayāḥ kalinādharma-mitreṇa dṛṣṭvā spṛṣṭāḥ prajā bhuvi sarve anunirjagmur bhrātaraḥ kṛta-niścayāḥ kalinādharma-mitreṇa dṛṣṭvā spṛṣṭāḥ prajā bhuvi sarve anunirjagmur bhrātaraḥ kṛta-niścayāḥ kalinādharma-mitreṇa dṛṣṭvā spṛṣṭāḥ prajā bhuvi
Now, 1 minute.
sarve, all his younger brothers, tam, him, anunirjagmur, left home by following the elder, bhrātaraḥ, brothers, kṛta-niścayāḥ, decidedly, kalinā, by the age of Kali, adharma, principle of irreligion, mitreṇa, by the friend, dṛṣṭvā, observing, spṛṣṭāḥ, having overtaken, prajā, all citizens, bhuvi, on the earth. Translation. The younger brothers of Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world, and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother.
This Kalina, you were reading kalinādharma-mitreṇa, kalinādharma-mitreṇa. These two A mixed together becomes swar A, sandhi. Kalinādharma-mitreṇa. So, Kali means quarrel. Unnecessarily quarrel. Kali, Kalina, by the age of Kali, this is the age of Kali. There are 4 ages, Sattva, Treta, Dvapar, Kali. Degrading, gradually degrading. This nature's way is to degrade. That is the nature's way, time fact. Just like you construct a very nice house today, good looking, fresh, but by ages it will become old. Your body, my body, in youth age it is very beautiful, and in due course of time it will be ugly like me. So, this is the work of the time. Similarly, nature's way, there are 4 ages. Sattva Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. Seasonal changes. So in the Sattva Yuga, the religious principles are followed strictly, 100%. That is called Sattva Yuga. And Treta Yuga, 25% reduced. That means 75% religious principle and 25% irreligious. And the Dwapara Yuga, 50-50. 50% religious and 50% irreligious. And the Kali Yuga, 75% irreligious and 25% religious. Gradually reducing to nil. No more religious. Then finished. Then there will be devastation. Again, Sattva Yuga will begin. This is the way of change of Sattva Yuga, Sattva, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. The duration of Sattva Yuga is about 1800,000 of years. 1800,000 of years. 100,000. 1800. Similarly, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, about 1200,000 of years. Similarly, Dwapara Yuga, 800,000 of years. And Kali Yuga, 400,000 of years. This is the beginning of Kali Yuga. Out of 400,000 of years, we have passed only 5,000 years. Not only 400,000, 432,000 of years. There is regular calculation in the Vedic Shastra. So out of that, we have passed 5,000 years. That Kali Yuga has begun just after the battle of Kurukshetra. So we have passed only 5,000 years of this Kali Yuga. There are still balance 427,000 of years. Still balance. So the Kali's friends, just like a man is known by his company, the Kali Yuga is the age of irreligion, therefore quarrel and fighting. Quarrel and fighting. Communal fighting. Unnecessarily, they will form a community, a group, all rascals, another group of rascals, and they will fight unnecessarily. Just like this nationalism. This is simply a group of rascals, that's all. Why rascal? Because irreligious, therefore rascal. So big man, big scientists, still they are rascal. Yes, they are still there rascal. Why? Because irreligious, they do not know what is God. Therefore they are rascal. This is the only test. Whether you know God, no sir, then you are rascal. That's all. No more test. One test. One test is sufficient. Whether you know God. Because this human life is meant for knowing God. This temple is meant for human beings, not for the cats and dogs. So, if you do not know God, then you are a rascal. You are exactly like the cats and dogs, that's all. This is the verdict. Now you can fight why you are calling me cats and dogs, but we are talking, following Krishna, the great authority. But what Krishna says, that is right. If you scrutinize by your logic, argument, philosophy, science, you'll find that Krishna is perfectly right. Therefore you accept Krishna. Unless Krishna is perfectly right, why should we accept Krishna? If he is ordinary rascal, then why? What is the use of reading his book, Bhagavad Gita? No. All the acharyas, all the saintly scholars, they have accepted. Therefore you have accepted. Because he is beyond all, it is false. What is the difference between ordinary man and a liberated man? Liberated. Not under the conditions of material nature. He is called liberated. Liberated means who is not conditioned by the laws of nature. He is called liberated. So Krishna is the liberated Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he has no defects. And those who are just like we are not liberated. Therefore, we have got 4 defects. The 4 defects are that we commit mistake. Anyone, big man, he must commit mistake because he is not liberated. He is under the laws of material nature. Who is here in this meeting who can say that I have never committed any mistake? Is there anybody? However learned scholar you may be, commit mistake is inherent. Similarly, to become illusion. Illusion means to accept something which you are not, or which is not fact. That is called illusion. Just like sometimes we see that the sun is on the western side, but reflection is on the glass, and the glass is reflecting some light. So we are thinking the sun has come to the other side. We have got this experience. Sun is this side, reflecting, the sun shining, and on the glass or on mirror, and the same reflection is this side. So we are thinking the sun is this side, the sunlight is coming. That is called illusion. This is the example of illusion, which is not fact, but it is appearing. False thing appearing as true, that is called Maya. This is the explanation of Maya. Maya, Ma means not, Ya means this. Maya, what you are experiencing that is not, that is called Maya. So, a conditioned soul, a child will think that although the fact is sun is this side, by seeing the reflection, a child may say the sun is this side. That is called illusion. So, we are all illusion because we accept this body as self. What you are? Oh, I am American. Why American? Because this is American born body. But I am not this body. But we accept. It is going on. This illusion is going on. Mistake is going on. And in spite of becoming illusion and mistaken, I am posing myself as great scholar, philosopher, scientist, therefore cheater. But I do not know the things because I am already illusion. And I commit mistake. And still I am proving that I am theologian, I am scientist, then change again. I say today something and tomorrow something else. Because I am mistaken, illusion, I must go on speaking like that nonsense. Today something, tomorrow something. And this is going on advancement. What is this advancement? If you do not know something as real. You say something today and tomorrow you say something, the same mistake. Again, day after tomorrow you say something. Where is your knowledge? There is no knowledge, but still he is posing to be man of knowledge. He is getting Nobel Prize. This is called cheating. And people are, those who are cheated, they are accepting this cheating knowledge. Therefore, the whole human society is full of cheaters and cheated. Full of Brahm Pramad Vipralapsa and Karunapata. Then if somebody says that why you are speaking that these men are cheaters and cheated and illusion and in Maya, that because these senses are imperfect. Because you are gathering knowledge by the senses. There are 5 senses acquire knowledge, and the 5 senses act according to that knowledge. And these sense objects, there are sense objects. Just like you have got eyes, you have to see something objective. Roop, form. The knowledge acquired by the eyes is to understand the form. Similarly, the knowledge acquired by the ears is to acquire knowledge from the sound. Because physical means the sound, light, form, these things are physical things. So we have got senses to acquire knowledge. So, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 working senses, and 5 sense objects. And I am there. This is called 16 elements. And then 5 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and 5 subtle elements, 3, 8. So in this way, the whole world, this universe, cosmic manifestation, is a composition of these 8 elements, 24 elements. And beyond these 24 elements, I am the soul. And beyond myself, there is the super soul. This is knowledge. This is knowledge. So, without this knowledge, nobody is perfect. And without being perfect, if we hear from somebody who is not perfect, it is simply waste of time. And that is the symptoms of Kali Yuga. Therefore it is said, kalinādharma-mitreṇa. Adharma-mitreṇa. And the adharma-mitra, this is the composition of ignorance. Now the friends, which friend helps me to keep me in this perpetual ignorance? These are illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. These 4 friends. You associate with these 4 friends, you will be very easily advancing under the influence of Kali Yuga. This is the fact. Kalinādharma-mitreṇa. So formally, the kings, the government man, king means the supreme executive head of government, they could understand that these things are now coming. Dṛṣṭvā, seeing practically. Because as soon as people are addicted to these 4 principles, illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, where everyone can see, that means Kali Yuga. Dṛṣṭvā. So how they saw? They practical. They know how to see. Just like in the chemical laboratory, they see the characteristic of a certain thing, analyze, and they say, yes, it is perfect, it is not perfect, because these things are wanting. So it is not pure, it is adulterated, chemical examination. And if these characteristics are there, in every chemical book, every chemical has got some characteristic. Just like potassium cyanide, the chemical examiners have not experienced what is the taste. Because as soon as you taste, you finish. Potassium cyanide, you know this. So therefore, in the chemical, there is no mention the taste of the potassium cyanide. Nobody has still tasted. So there is a Hindi word in India, दिल्ली का लड्डू जो खाया अभी पछताया, जो न खाया अभी पछताया. There is a दिल्ली का लड्डू. You make laddu. So, दिल्ली का लड्डू, it is a very slang language. दिल्ली का लड्डू जो खाया अभी पछताया, जो दिल्ली का लड्डू is so made that one who has tasted it, he laments, and who has not tasted it, he laments. Both of them. So this potassium cyanide is like that, a chemical. The chemists, because they do not know what is the taste, so they say that we do not know, it is analysis is imperfect. And those who have tasted, they cannot say they have finished. So this is the position. So this Dilli ka laddu is referred to Dilli prostitute. Dilli ka laddu. So we do not wish to discuss these things, but so many things, not only prostitute, even sex life, it is like that. Anyone who has tasted, he also laments, and who has not tasted, he also laments. This is the position. This is the position. Janamaithunadi grahamedi sukham mitucham. Maithunadi. Maithunadi means sexual intercourse. Janamaithunadi grahamedi sukham mitucham. Kanvanena karayu rivadukha dukham. It is a pleasure just like eating sensation. It is all described. Jana Maithunadi, a Grihamedhi. Grihamedhi means a so-called householder. There are two words, Grihamedhi and Grihastha. Grihastha means, that is called ashram. Grihastha ashram. To live with wife and children. But the business is how to develop Krishna consciousness. That is Grihastha Ashram, as we recommend. And where there is no such attempt how to develop Krishna consciousness, simply living like cats and dogs, they have also sex life, they also produce children, they also eat, they also work. Such kind of life, household life, working day and night simply for sense pleasure, and at night they have got sense pleasure. That is also described in the Bhagavad. Divacharte haya rajan. At night, either sleep or enjoy sex life, and in daytime, simply work hard where to get money, and as you get money, spend it for maintaining your family. Nidra hyate natram. Nidra means sleeping. Hyate, night is past. Nidra hyate natram. Babaina chavavaya. Or one who has got facility to enjoy sex. So night is past. One who has no, everyone has practically but two things, sleep or sex. And then at daytime, charte haya, artha means money. Ihaya means trying to get it. Diva charte haya rajan. All right, they are getting money. Then there's kutumba bharane inava. Spend it for kutumba, for the dependents. That's all. So finished. So where is the time for Krishna consciousness? That is called grihamedi. But grihastha means they will see whether every moment is utilized for Krishna. That is grihastha. So human civilization means grihastha, not grihamedi. If you become grihamedi, then you are cats and dogs. And if you become grihastha, then you are nice. Then you are advancing towards self-realization. That is required. Because the cats and dogs, they cannot become grihastha. That is not possible. If you say, if you have got a dog, you get another female dog, my dear dog, you get your wife, live peacefully, chant Hare Krishna. No, sir, it is not possible. Because I am dog. Because I am dog, therefore I cannot be satisfied. I must find out another illicit sex and create trouble, then pot is. Then fight, that is Kali Yuga. Unnecessarily create by illicit sex life enemy and then become killed and finish your life. That is called grihamedi. Grihamedi. You require wife, that's all right, take wife. There is no scarcity of wife. Live peacefully, chant Hare Krishna. No. I have got my wife, I want another, I want another, I am not. Like dogs, yes. So the dog civilization cannot help us. This will not help us. Human life is meant for something else. Nayang deha, dev bhajang aniloki, kastan kaman arahati bir bhujang. Everything is discussed in Bhagavad. Therefore we request the whole human society to read these valuable books. Valuable. Oh, they are missing the opportunity. Let them read these books. Their life will be successful. So this human life is not meant for like dogs and cats and hogs. That is said in the Bhagavatam. You will find in the 5th canto, 5th chapter, Rishabdev, every word is so valuable. Just like here in this verse, sarve tam anunirjagmur, bhrātaraḥ. How ideal brothers they are. My elder brother is retiring, going to the Himalayan side. All the brothers followed. When the elder brother was king, they acted, they did not fight. We are 5 brothers, why you shall become king? I shall become king. No, there is no fight. All of them, the elder brother Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira was enthroned, and the other brothers, they acted as commanders of the soldiers. One brother is going one side of the earth to fight, to subdue the rascals. There was fight to subdue the rascals, not for ambition, because he was emperor. So anyone who is doing wrong, irreligiously, go there and fight. That was fight. That is called dharma yuddha. Just like you can maintain police force, military force, what for? Whenever there is outlaws, go and punish them. That should be the system. That should be the military force is required. Violence is required. When there is irreligious, then they must be made religious. And because such government was there, that we have discussed during Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira's times, everything was peaceful. Even people did not suffer from excessive heat, excessive cold. This is also another punishment. Just like disease is punishment, similarly excessive heat and excessive cold is also punishment. That is not very good. But Yudhiṣṭhira Maharaj's time was such that people did not feel. It is nature's punishment. Just like I was proposing to go to what is that place?
Africa?
Huh?
Africa?
No. Yes. Florida. Miami. So, Karandar said, now there also the temperature has reduced. It has come to 50 or something like that, 40. The temperature is high there. So, nature can change at any time. At any time. You are not controller of nature. You are under the control of nature. That we forget. This is our illusion. We are under the control of material nature fully, 100%, and still we are declaring independence. What kind of independence you have got? Any kind of independence can be finished by one kick of nature. And still you declare independent. You cannot be independent. When you go above the control of the material nature, then you can say independent. But they do not know that. And nature is controlled by God. That also they do not know. Nature, daividhisa gunamayi mama maya dṛṣṭvā. Just like police force is under the control of the government. And you are under the control of police force. Everyone knows it. So, how you can get out of the police force when you are not a criminal? That's all. And who punishes you? The government, who is above the police force. Similarly, nature is like police force, this material nature. As soon as you become irreligious, making friendship with colleague and his friends, then you will be punished. Nature will, there will be severe cold, there will be this blast, that blast, and no protection, famine, pestilence, so many things. Nature can disturb you. Nature, that is called adhi-daivik, which is beyond your control. Adhi-daivik. If the Pacific Ocean, within a second, overflows your Los Angeles town, what you can do? What your scientists can do? Nothing, sir. But it can be done at any moment. What is the difficulty? One big wave, skyscraper building, all skyscrapers will be finished. So that is called nature's disturbance. So there are other disturbances also. This is called natural disturbance. Then other disturbance is your body is the source of so many disturbances. If you don't feel nature's disturbances, then your body friend, which you have taken so friendly, that my body is everything, exercise, keep this body very perfect to eat meat and drink. But this body will give you trouble. The mind will give trouble. This is called adhyatmik. Everything is analyzed. Adhyatmik and adhi-bhautik. You do not create any enemy, but you never will be enemy, unnecessarily. Your friend will be enemy. Your brother will be enemy. Your son will be enemy. There are so many instances. This is called adhi-bhautik. That is somebody's dog, unnecessarily. You have seen, you are passing the road, and the dog is so faithful, he becomes your enemy. Go, go, go. Why you are passing here? Where passing? The mosquito will be enemy. The bugs will be enemy. The insects will be enemy. You go on killing. Go on killing with spray. So many enemies, so many trouble is being created. Who has created? The nature. You haven't got to create, but nature will create to give you disturbances. This is your position. And you are thinking, we are very happy. We are very happy in this material life. Sajjasa, how mura, nonsense rascals. So in the beginning I say all these rascals, so are they not rascals? They are harassed in so many ways. Still they are thinking we are making advance and we are happy. Just see. So the whole situation is not full of rascals. They do not know. They are accepting unhappiness as happiness. This is called Maya. This is called Maya. Maya Mohitaji. And you cannot get out of this illusion and mistakes unless you surrender to Krishna. Daividjesa gunamai mama maya duruttaya mamevaja prapaddanti mayametaṁ taranti. This is the medicine. This is the only counteraction. You cannot, suppose you are being harassed by the police, you are put into the prison house and so many ways you are being harassed by the criminal department. How you can get out? You simply file a petition, sir, I have now experienced, I will never commit this criminal act. Kindly excuse me and get me released. That is the only way. Similarly, you can be very proud that I don't care for God. There is no God. I am God, you are God. You can go on talking nonsense like that, but the Maya will give you so much trouble. But if you are sane man, then you will admit that this was a wrong thing. Please excuse me. Then it will be possible. But that is not possible, especially in this age. In Kali Yuga, the age is very strong and deteriorated, that in spite of our daily class, daily instruction, the Kali is so strong that capturing, please come under my control and be killed. Please come under my control, be killed. Yes, I will go. This is going. So Yudhiṣṭhira Mahārāja and his brothers, they saw now the Kali Yuga has begun. dṛṣṭvā and spṛṣṭāḥ, prajā, all the citizens and all the land. Now we have done our duty, now let us retire. The next king, Mahārāja, is their grandchild, Mahārāja Parikshit. He will do his duty. So it is the duty of the king to see, to give protection from this onslaught of nature, to make the life successful. That is the duty of the king, that is the duty of the father, that is the duty of the spiritual master, that is the duty of friends and relatives. Then one should cooperate, one should give protection, just like these children are there. If the father, mother and the teacher, they do not give these children protection, then what is their future, hope? So unnecessarily so-called education will not help. Let them become Krishna conscious. That is the duty of the government. Just like we are now speaking on this slogan, in God we trust. Is that the slogan? In God we trust? So this is a slogan, but it is the duty of the government that we are using this slogan, but actually what we are doing about people's education, that they may know what is God and then trust. Everyone is godless. And still, as a matter of fashion, we are writing in God we trust. This is another cheating. Nobody trusts in God, and they write in God we trust. And unless I write, of course, I do not wish to say, very harsh word, that unless I cheat in that way, how a man will accept one piece of paper at $1,000? You see, it is a grand cheating that I am giving $1,000. But if I value, it is not even 1/40. This is called Maya. It is not, but I accept. I accept. If people become enlightened, no, you are not going to accept this piece of paper as $1,000. You must have gold. So many things will be solved immediately. So many things. But because we agree to be cheated, the cheaters are cheating and things are going on wrong. This is called Kali Yuga. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Again, wonderful lecture by Srila Prabhupada. So many points that are very eye-opening about the world that we live in this Kali Yuga. Srila Prabhupada put it out so simply and so plainly, and that the argument is irrefutable. When you think about it, it would be nice to even hear this lecture again. Because, of course, it's been recorded on YouTube, so anyone that wants to only has to put the text there, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.15.45, put today's date there, and Srila Prabhupada, and that's all. On YouTube, you can hear again. You know, this is the time, dear devotees, to unmute yourself, and whatever comments based on what you've heard, you can definitely comment. Let's have a discussion here. Hare Krishna, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'm requesting that you start for us, kick us up, if you don't mind.
Thank you. All glories to Prabhupada. I would like to hear your comments first, if that would be okay today, if you don't mind. I'll comment later. What do you think?
Okay. Well, I usually write a few things down, and so
I know you
do. I'll give some overview of this. This is a lecture that I particularly like. I'll go back. Srila Prabhupada talked about nature. Nature's way is, gradual destruction. Things get worse and worse and worse, and then they disappear. So they mentioned the 4 ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yuga. And then he compared it to the extent of religiosity. And Satya Yuga starts topmost religiosity, and then of course it begins to go down a little bit, little by little. At Treta Yuga, 25% irreligious, 75% religious. Dwapara Yuga, he says, is 50-50. And Kali Yuga, 25% religious and 75% irreligious. And now with even the religious 25% that's there, it's going to go down to 0 eventually. Then he talked about people who know God and don't know God, need a comparison. If a person does not know God, he's a rascal, regardless of material knowledge or knowledge of science. They also mentioned about Krishna's position. What Krishna says is right because he is a liberated Supreme Personality of Godhead. And pure devotees are also liberated. But conditioned souls, there are 4 defects. 1, we commit mistakes. Then he challenges anyone who's never committed a mistake. Number 2, we're illusion. And illusion means to accept something that's not a fact. And he gave an example that like the sun rises from one side, but on the earth here, it could be glass that will reflect it and point it towards a different side, so people would think that the sun is actually coming up or in the opposite side from where it really is. That's called illusion or Maya. Then he translated Maya. Ma means not, and Ya means this. So Maya means not this. He said, the scientists are very illusion. This one I can really relate to because I was in there with them in this graduate program. They say something one day, and then they say something different the next day. So they do not know, but still they get a Nobel Prize, even though they don't know and they're making all kinds of assumptions. So the world is full of cheaters and the cheated. So that's what's going on. The science, so that's the illusion part. And he defined illusion merging into the senses so beautifully. He said, why are people cheated? Because the senses are imperfect. So the scientists try to come up with something, but they have imperfect senses. Therefore, all they do is assume. They make assumptions that are not right. So since the senses are imperfect, Srila Prabhupada went into talking about the senses. In fact, all 24 elements were listed. The knowledge acquiring senses, then the 5 sense objects, then the 5 working senses, and then the 5 gross senses, earth, water, fire, and sky, then the 3 subtle elements, and then they finished it, but there's also the unmanifested, which makes a total of 24. So he explained nobody's perfect in Kali Yuga. And this life that people live, they just involved in illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and meat eating, which is very principles that we asked to stay away from in order to live a life of more goodness. He also made one comparison involving chemistry. In a chemical lab, nobody knows the taste of potassium cyanide. This is so true. If you taste it, you'll be finished. It will kill you. So in life, people cannot say, who haven't, in life, those who can't say what they've done, the comparing it to KCN, the potassium cyanide. Those who haven't tasted it, they can't say what the taste is. And those who have tasted it, they're dead because that's the nature of the chemical. It will kill you. So, sex life, he defined it as maitunadi, sexual intercourse. Those who involve themselves in it, they lament, and those who do not involve themselves are also lamenting. That is Grihamedi life. But Grihastha life means household life, but for being Krishna conscious. Grihamedi life is for 100% material life. Then he described Grihamedi life a little more. Daytime, they look for money. Then they spend on the family members. That's what they do. Family members they spend on, try to buy nice toys and so on. And at night, they have illicit sex. So they're like cats and dogs. Some engage in promiscuity, another woman, another wife, and on and on and on. But if they read the spiritual books, especially Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then their lives will be successful. So human life is not meant to be like cats and dogs. Then he summed it up by saying the Pandavas were ideal brothers. The eldest was the leader, that is Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, and the 4 brothers were commanders. So in Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira's time, the weather was very nice. The change of weather is also a form of punishment. It was one of my strong takeaways. It's a form of punishment. We are under the control of material nature, but we think we are independent. And who controls material nature? God controls material nature. Krishna. Material nature is like the police force. If you act badly, then the police will get you. So in the same way, if we're acting badly, and we are in Kali Yuga, that's why nature is inflicting punishment on us. Severe scorching heat, severe cold and scorching heat, or the ocean can overwhelm a city at any time. When there's an earthquake, the ocean just comes, or earthquake in the ocean, that's the end of that. It just comes, big tidal wave, and the city can be overwhelmed easily. Then our bodies and minds also give us trouble. Adhyatmic. Are the living entities disturb us? Dogs can bark and bite. Dogs can bark at us and bite us. Mosquitoes bite us and they give us sickness, still we think we're enjoying. So this is mental. The only way is to petition God to get us out. In this age, Kali is so strong and is beckoning people to come under her control. So Pandavas noticed that they were towards the end of Dwapara Yuga. When they noticed the arrival of Kali Yuga, they decided to leave. That's a sign for us. We should also prepare to leave. The kingdom was given to Mahārāja Yudhiṣṭhira, who was their grandson. So that the people become God conscious. Then finally, it talked about the American dollar that says, in God we trust. He didn't really want to get into it too much because he knows that the government sometimes comes after. If you expose the government too much, that's another story that you don't want to be in it. He said, in God we trust. But nobody trusts God. We're accepting situations that are not good for us. So if people become enlightened, just like towards the end, we're not going to accept this piece of paper as $1,000 or $100, as was the most common large piece of paper. It's not backed by gold. And so, if we have real gold, then we know that the money is actually authentic. But now we accept anything, which is actually an illusion. It's not really backed properly. So many things, if we do the right thing, many things will be solved. But we agreed to be cheated. And therefore, the cheaters are cheating us, and things are going on in the wrong way. That's called Kali Yuga. So that's basically some of the things that I put down. Hare Krishna. Anything of that, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
couple of questions I would ask. Srila Prabhupada was talking about the 4 yugas and the level of religiosity in the different yugas diminishing from 100% down to 25% in Kali Yuga, and then on down till nil at the end of Kali Yuga. So if one does a survey of the people in, say, the United States, and they ask them, what is your religion and stuff like that,
Yeah.
the majority of people will, something like 70% or 60% will say, oh, I'm a Christian. And then another, 5% will say I'm a Muslim, and 2% will say they're Jewish, et cetera, et cetera. So what would the devotees make of that difference between the 25% and, their what people's reporting? That's a question for everybody.
Anybody like to take it up? Just express your opinion about it? That it seems like now, Srila Prabhupada has talked about Kali Yuga, the religious aspect of life is now down to 25%, and it can go even further down. But then there are people who are religionists who would say, or at least in this country, if you did some survey, you realize that more than 25% are actually in the religions. So how does that, how do you reconcile two situations? Kali Yuga being 25% religious, and at least one country saying that they're much higher than 25%. That's the question. I'll try to put a thing to.
Let's ask. Can we ask somebody direct? Let's see.
Sure.
So what is Mother? Is Mother Anasuya in a position where she can answer or no?
I don't know if I'm in a different floor.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances, August of Prabhupada.
Oh, there you
Prabhu, when I was listening to the question, I just kept saying to myself, I don't know. I'll be honest. I just kept repeating it. I said, geez, how do we evaluate that? Then I said, okay, probably it's just going to be speculation or assumption. But then I said, well, probably some people might think that I am religious, but then again, because I go to church once a year. So I don't know, Prabhu, to be honest with you.
Even if they go to church once a week, are they really religious?
No, see, that's what I'm saying.
What do
So,
they do in the
yeah,
church? I'm just, you said,
yeah,
I don't know, so I'm now throwing questions.
I
What do they do in the church? What is the motivation?
exactly. See,
What is the
that's see
motivation?
that's yeah, because there are situations where people just go, like for example, I'll just use an example for one of my coworker that I used to work with, and she was raised Hindu. She's Nepali. And whenever it's some festival, she'll tell me what what she's doing. So, and I, out of curiosity, will ask her, why do you do it? She goes, I don't know. I'm just told by my mother. So again, Prabhu, I think it goes back to how many people really know what they're doing, even if they call themselves so-called religious, or are they just going just to fulfill the traditional ritualistic, my mom said, my dad said, my grandma, my grandpa said, so I just do it. Just, yeah,
What
I
about
don't know.
those who? What about those who? I'm just throwing the questions out so you can, because you are actually answering it. But you keep saying I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But what about those who go because they think if I don't go, God will punish me?
Exactly. Because the thing is, they were raised in a
To
background
think
that,
that way.
yeah, well, even I was raised, when I was a Christian, I was always told we worship a God-fearing man. He's a
God
God-fearing
fear,
God,
yeah.
and that was God-fearing, sorry. So
Mm-hmm.
every time we live life, God's gonna punish me, I'm gonna be thrown in a dungeon, I'm gonna be thrown in a prison, so
Worse than that,
yeah,
you go to hell and never get out of there.
exactly. So
So
I don't know if I
anyway,
answered Vishigala Prabhu's question, but my mind is just going in circles, like,
so
yeah, what, and I
so
think
so are
Prabhu,
they really religious then? What are they?
see
See,
that, see
you
that,
analyzed it, and that's not
yeah,
religion. That's not
no,
real religion at all.
so my question is,
Mhm.
do people know what religion actually means, or is it just, because I just follow because it's parampara?
Good question. Anybody to answer?
I'm sorry, Vishigala Prabhu, that I couldn't answer your question, Prabhu.
I
No,
think
you made a good stab at it. I thought it
yeah.
was well said.
Yeah.
I was trying to stimulate the discussion on the point. I mean, Srila Prabhupada in his speaking, he gave the measure or the yardstick about what is religion, if we caught it. He said, and this is the test. Someone who knows who is God, someone who knows what is God or who is God. Then he said that
Yeah.
is, yeah. And so from if we take the Vedic point of view as correct, which I think most of us do,
Mm.
then you have to conclude from that point of the 25% and that yes, a large portion of the people who claim to be religious according to that definition of knowing what is God aren't religious, and as you said, are going through some formularies just in a social way and in a just a traditional way, but not really having a conception of God or the soul, etc. And of course, from our position, we have to be careful not that we fall into that same category, that we're just going through motions but not actually understanding God and doing regular devotional service too, not
Mm.
just officially being a Hare Krishna devotee as well. Hare Krishna.
Very important. Very, very important. Thank you for bringing this discussion up. Any other
See,
comments?
also, I'm sorry,
No,
Vishigala
go
Prabhu
ahead.
got
Yeah,
me
we're having
thinking.
discussion. So
See, the thing is, Prabhu, like, see, now, I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate, if that's the right term to use, but, even when Srila Prabhupada, said, religion is someone who knows God. But if you were to walk up, I mean, sorry, not, if I were to walk up to, a Christian, or a Muslim, say, yes, I do know God. He's God-fearing. So then again, what are we measuring that up to, right? Now, is God-fearing? Because in what we are taught in Krishna consciousness, he's all attractive. So again, it goes back to, even someone can strongly can claim that, yes, I do know God. He's this, is that, he's God-fearing, he punishes when you do wrong, he puts you to hell. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So what does Bhagavad Gita say? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti madva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanta. That if you actually know God, then one engages in service. So, if you actually know. So anyway, I'm just making the argument from Srila Prabhupada's side, and I understand people say, oh yes, God is this and God is that. But then if you really understand God, if you really, like Srila Prabhupada was bringing up in this point about in God we trust. Well, if you really trust God, then how are you acting in this way? So if you really know God, then what is your activity? That could be put forward anyway.
Yeah. If we trust God, then we should act based on His laws.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that. Even though the money advertises of in God we trust. Oh my God. The money itself is just a piece of paper that's not backed up. So, it's Kali Yuga 5,000 years and it's already like this. 427,000 years to go. And it's already like this. Cheetahs and the cheetahs. So anyway, any other points? Other devotees would like to chime in?
Dear Krishna Prabhu she put something in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, in the chat.
You can read.
I don't have my glasses on.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, many Hare Krishna devotees are also engaged in mixed activities due to mixed understanding. A very important point. That's the point that Hare Krishna Prabhupada is making. Unfortunately, many Hare Krishna devotees are also engaged in mixed activities due to mixed understanding. I agree, but that's on the one hand, but devotees are also undergoing the process of purification. And so over time, and when we say over time, that is some people who are very enthusiastic to get to know what it is like to be a devotee can learn quickly, but the majority of people actually learn when one situation hits them after another situation. It's unfortunate, then they learn from it, if they do. So then it takes much longer. And for many of us, especially since I'm now in the 70s, we can look back at the time when I was, younger and just started devotional life, and we see that it's a pattern of change and change and change and change and change for the better, while at the same time being around devotees and finding out what happened to some devotees and why it happened to them. We learn from it too. We live our own life, and then we have experiences of unfortunate things that happen to others and fortunate things that happen to others based on where the consciousness was at. So you pick up a lot too while you're living the life. But in the end, it is very clear that you are either Krishna conscious or you're dead mentally. Because everything in the news, you can sneak and look at the news a little bit, you will see that either people are being deceived or one person is fighting against another person. That's all that's going on. That is all that's going on. Bickering and bickering and bickering. And after a while, don't you get tired of it? But that's news. That is supposed to be news. So in the end, you just rule everything out. Says, the only thing left is to stay with Krishna consciousness, hear about Krishna, and chant his holy name, because everybody else is practically out to lunch, but think that things that they're doing are okay. So this is Kali Yuga. It's bound to happen. But we shouldn't be, deceived. Srila Prabhupada explained it so well. We shouldn't stay in illusion is the biggest problem, and devotees should not be illusioned, thinking that this material world is going to give us what we want. It can't. Material life cannot give us real happiness. It doesn't work like that. The richer you become, the more problems you get. It's like that. Every day you have to fight the weather. So what kind of life is this? Hare Krishna. Anyway, Just don't want to go on and on and on and on. But it's obvious. Hopefully the Buddhists realize that. That's the important thing. Then we take our devotional life bhakti seriously, because that's the only thing it's the most sensible thing to do. Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Krishna, for the comment. Any other comments or questions? If not, we're past the hour now. Actually, 10 minutes past the hour. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for coming on. And every time that we hear Srila Prabhupada, we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we become more and more and more enlightened. And more enlightened means we won't be in illusion and we won't be cheated. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day and the rest of your week. Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again, dear.